You're listening to 50 Pirates in 50 Days on the Sports Objective Podcast. A new era of East Carolina football is here and will begin on August 31st when Mike Houston leads the Pirates into action at NC State. Between now and then, join us for a daily trip down memory lane as we experience Pirate football through the words of the men who made those memorable moments happen. Here's your host, Bubba Rosenbaum.
Boy, 50 Pirates in 50 Days continues. What a big success. I want to thank everybody so much for that. And, Bubba, we've got another great Pirate on the line.
We definitely do, Dave. I'm very excited to catch up with a former Pirate defensive back, a guy that played for East Carolina in the late 80s and early 90s, was a cornerback on that Peach Bowl team. And welcome into the show, Chris Hall.
Oh, thanks for having me. How's everybody doing today?
Doing great. Honored to have you on. We've been talking to a lot of great Pirates. You're another great example of a Pirate we wanted to have on, and certainly appreciate all that you did for Pirate Nation and built the program up. Can you tell everybody how you got started? How did you get recruited, and why did you choose Greenville and the Pirates?
Actually, I was a running back out of high school,
Right.
and I went to a school in South Jersey, which another Pirate that went to the same school, Andrew Ward, went to Pemberton Township. And I got recruited by Coach Christensen as a running back. Basically, I chose East Carolina because at that time they were running the run and shoot offense, which they had Travis Hunter, Reggie McKinney, Gerard Morty, Tim James, all of them similar to what we ran at the school at Pemberton. So I got recruited there as a running back. Unfortunately, during our freshman workouts and freshman camp before the senior class got there, I got moved to defensive back, and that's where I finished my rest of my freshman year through my senior year at defensive back.
So, Chris, talk about that transition from running back to defensive back. I know it was seemingly one that you made pretty smoothly. So talk about that process.
It was pretty tough. Like I said, I played a little bit in high school, a little bit of safety in high school. But coming in, I mean, they gave us a workout. They put us in different positions to see how our skill sets were. And I think they did that with the late, great Junior Robinson that played free safety. I think he was a running back in high school. Ed Brogdon went through that transition as well, but he was a quarterback in high school. He went to, they turned him into a free safety. But the more I learned and watched those guys, the more I got a little comfortable with it. So the transition was a little difficult at first from wanting to be a running back to being a defensive back, like I said, because I didn't know what to expect at that time coming from high school and going to college. So, but the transition went pretty smoothly. A lot of just relying on my skill and learning from other defensive backs that were there before me.
Coming out of high school, did you have any chance to go anywhere else? Did you have any other offers?
Not too much bigger offers. I had some people interested in looking at me like West Virginia, because that's where I really thought I was going to go, because most of the people from Pemberton went to West Virginia in the class that I was with. Most of them signed with West Virginia, like Kenneth McGee, Boris Graham. I had a couple people signed from there, but I had offers from some hometown schools, just small schools. And I just chose East Carolina because it was basically away from home too, getting away from home. And like I said, once I got on the recruiting trip, which Reggie McKinney was a person that was showing me around, and man, they showed me a good time, showed me the campus, and after my recruiting trip, I chose East Carolina.
So, Chris, talk about that transition going from Coach Art Baker to Bill Lewis.
Mm-hmm. It was different. It was different because we had Bill Lewis coming from the SEC, so that mentality. I mean, we always, with the Art Baker regime, man, you had the people that put in work. From me coming in and then seeing the upper class to come in from the condition and everything else, it was just, you had to get used to whatever kind of style they were using. I know we went we got away from the offense that we were running. So it wasn't too much of a bad transition. Like I said, we're kind of used to it. But the people that was there during the Art Baker years, like our freshman class, that we grinded through the Art Baker regime and then into the Bill Lewis regime. It was just, believing in yourself and believing in our team. Develop, more of a chemistry because we really didn't have big names there at the time. So it was like believing in ourselves, and everything came together that last year. So, but we put a lot of work with Art Baker, put a lot of work, and then we put the work in with Bill Lewis. So our freshman class that class had a lot of talent in that freshman class that went on, and then mixed with some of the other JUCO transfers and stuff like that. So we just believed in ourselves, and we ended up losing one game that year and going to the Peach Bowl. So, but I'll say that class, that Peach Bowl team came from the Art Baker area. So we had a couple of key people, Robert Jones, Jeff Blake. All those people came from that Art Baker era. So we took that work ethic with us to the Bill Lewis era.
So you talked about Bill Lewis coming from the SEC. Obviously, he'd been at the University of Georgia and under Coach Vince Dooley, and so used to having excellent defenses, obviously. And so with that being the case, and talk about Coach Lewis as a head coach. I know he wasn't technically his own coordinator, so was he more of a CEO type of a head coach, or was he kind of hands-on with the defense?
He was more hands-on, especially with the defensive backs, because I think that's what he helped coach also at Georgia. But he was more of a defensive-minded coach and special teams coach. Because when we went to play Georgia, it was one particular play, and we lost to Georgia by 2 points that year. I think that was my junior year. Yeah,
that was the 1990 season. I was actually my family and I made that trip down there because I didn't have a football game that weekend, so that was a lot of fun, like you said. And I thought we were gonna pull it off.
And he didn't hold back no punches. I mean, if you made a mistake, he let you know it, because it was after that game. He called certain people to his office. He had called me to his office, and I can remember the play to this day. And matter of fact, we were on punt return, and he played it and kept playing it. He rewinded and rewinded, and he showed it was me and 3 other guys. We were that close to blocking the punt. But it was like I kind of backed off because I thought somebody else was going to make the play. But from that moment on, he instilled in us, don't count on nobody else. You make the play. And that's the type of person. He was very hands-on, strict, very hands-on, but he knew details. He knew the details. He got the most out of his players. So that was a turning moment of Bill Lewis era right there. That loss to Georgia, and just from that one play, that might have turned the whole game around. We only lost by 2 points.
Yeah,
and we would have blocked that kick. We probably could have kicked a field goal, or even scored a touchdown.
Chris, that's been a common theme amongst, we talked to several of your teammates, and that's one of the things they've really emphasized, Coach Lewis' attention to detail, and then he's also a tremendous motivator.
Right, exactly. And that's, I mean, he got the most out of you. Just like me being a senior going to my senior year, it's just like, going to be a captain. I became a captain of that team, and just playing for him and him believing in us, that turned a lot of things around. And he just believed in us, and we believed in ourselves. So even from the T-shirts, we believe and I believe, we adopted that thing. So he was a big motivator.
Coming off that 1990 season, you mentioned, close games with Georgia. There was some other close games, during that 90 season. Right. At what point did you have any idea, did the team have any idea how good you guys could be or were going to be in 91? Or were you surprised at yourself?
We just went in because we kept hearing, even from students, some of the students even man, we'll never go to a bowl game and stuff like that. But we didn't realize how good we were going to be because, we had got some JUCO transfers. We didn't know, Deion Johnson. So Cedric Van Buren showed up big. Hunter Gallimore, Luke Fisher. And it just seemed like they opened the offense a little bit more because the defense, we had a motto, bend but don't break. So, and we rallied around that and just worked as a team because we really didn't have one standout person. I mean, Robert Jones was awesome, excellent linebacker, and he worked to get to that point. But people like Greg Gardell and Ken Burnett, Stephen Brady, people that been through this stuff, man, I mean, we just believed in each other. And then we got Greg Grandison transferring from Florida to play free safety. So it was just those people connecting with us. And Greg Grandison told me, because my junior year, also I had to go to summer school after my junior year. And he told me, make sure you get back this year because we're going to need you. I haven't met Greg Grandison, but that was his motivation to me. And then I came back, and like I said, we had an excellent year. One drive away from going undefeated that year.
Right, and that bogus penalty up at Illinois,
right.
we recovered the onside kick, and then those
right.
Big Ten officials whistle is for excessive celebration.
Excessive celebration. Everybody was just happy because we got the onside kick and was running off the field. Matter of fact, everybody been running off the field.
Right.
And they threw the flag and pushed us back a little bit, ran out of time, And what was so funny about that, when we found out we was going to a bowl game, we wanted to play them again. We wanted to play Illinois again, but we never did get around to that. So,
now, Chris, whether it was in that 91 season or earlier in your Pirate career, I know in 91, NC State had Charles Davenport at wideout, who was extremely talented. But besides him, who were some of the top wide receivers you remember going against?
Florida State had a few. South Carolina had a few. Randall Hill was in Miami my sophomore year. Michael Jackson and Brett Favre in Southern Miss. It was just a slew because that my freshman year, man, it was just like because we had to play Florida State, Miami, Syracuse, or Rocket Ismail brother from Syracuse.
Yeah,
when we went to the Dome, I remember playing against him. So it was Garrison Hurst from Georgia, the running back.
Right.
I forgot their main receiver, but I mean, we really don't look at it. We really at that time, you really wasn't thinking about that. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna study these people on film and see what their favorite routes are and stuff like that. Just like my freshman year, Deion Sanders,
right,
Terrell Buckley the year after that. You really don't go and say, okay, that's Deion Sanders, because I really didn't know anything about Deion Sanders. But when he got drafted, you know about Deion Sanders. You know playing against him. So Todd Ellis from South Carolina. They had Robert Brooks one year that played in Green Bay. So it was just, it was a slew of receivers. Slew of receivers, man. And it's just funny you think about it now. You're like, oh, I remember him, but, he's famous, but you never know.
Yeah, like you said, when you're in the arena like that, so to speak, that it's more you're more like a coach from the standpoint of how coaches you'll hear coaches, they can't think of names, they'll just call out numbers. Right,
right. But we just you got to rely on your technique and your skills and go from there. Just study film, man. Study and believe in yourself.
So, Chris, you talked about the coach who recruited you. Talk about your position coaches during your career.
Like I said, they were pretty much the same, man. As long as we got our system down, and as long as we learned our system and believed in each other, to me, all the coaches were basically the same. Bill Lewis, like I said, he wasn't my position coach, but a lot of detail came from him and the people that he had on his staff. It was always attention to detail. Believe in, if you see it, believe it. If this person is running this person would line up at this spot, he's going to run this route. See, that's what a lot of people don't believe. Just like I went to a homecoming game a couple of years ago. I think they were playing SMU. Matter of fact, they were playing SMU. Me and Tim Marshall was sitting up in the stands. And me and Tim, I called out the route. I said, Tim, he's going to run an out route. and he ran that route 3 times in a row. I said, when are they going to jump that route? I mean, and that's the stuff that we paid attention to. I mean, he was lined up on the numbers. I said, he's going outside all day. And he did. And that's the kind of stuff they instilled in us. Every coach, like, attention to detail. What's their favorite route? What did they run in this situation? So all the coaches, it was like, pretty much the same on that level.
Now, going back to that Peach Bowl season, outside of the NC State game, if you had to pick one game that was most memorable to you, which one would it be?
Most memorable? Oh, man. Besides the NC State game. Man, we had so many, especially that senior year. Oh, my goodness.
A lot of people always go to that Pitt game.
I was getting ready to say that because that came down to the last play. Last play. Pitt game, and to me, when we finally beat South Carolina. Yeah. When we finally beat South Carolina. Because my freshman year, we never beat South Carolina. For my freshman year. So we finally beat South Carolina when they came there.
Yeah, beat them in Dowdy Ficklen, and fans tore down the goalpost, if I remember right.
Yes.
It's funny you bring that game up, Chris, because I know right before we started this interview, I sent you a couple of screenshots I had taken off of YouTube, and one of them was when you recovered a fumble against the Gamecocks right around midfield. I'm trying to remember who it was that laid the big stick and put his hat on the football.
I'm trying to think of who that was, man. I went back and looked at some of that stuff too, man. I can't remember, but if I go back and look at it, I'll know exactly who it is. I want to say either Greg Grandison or one of our linebackers. It was either Greg or one of the linebackers. I'm not sure, but it popped out, and I just popped on it. I wish I had go back, I'll pick that thing up and scoop and run.
Yeah.
When you see stuff like that, then I watch that film, I'm like, oh, man, I had time to pick that up and run. But you just want to make sure you secure the ball. So that was a big turning point right there.
And another one I sent you a screenshot of was the Syracuse finish where they had the ball there at the end, and you had to bat down the Hail Mary.
Actually, that went through my hands, believe it or not.
Okay.
I was like, that's why I was kind of like, woof.
Yeah, I could tell the way you looked. That sense of relief.
Yeah, it's kind of like, let me look at it and make sure he's up. Because I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this one. Because my thing was to pick it, So, but man, that was game 2. Because Syracuse playing Syracuse in the dome and coming out with that win. Oh man, it was like everything. It was like we couldn't get those breaks earlier in my career. It was like we was getting a lot of breaks my senior year, like stuff that we needed and we got. So it was just like with Virginia Tech, man. Virginia Tech now, ever since my freshman year, every year we played Virginia Tech, they used to give it to us. But we finally beat them too. Oh man, that was a relief too. That was a relief. So that was, it's just so many memories and so many games of teams like Virginia Tech and going down to Southern Miss and playing Southern Miss and not knowing who these people are. Just like with Brett Favre, we played against him and Michael Jackson and stuff like that. So it's a lot. Steve Walsh from Miami, Major Harris from West Virginia, and that was crazy because we had West Virginia on our homecoming, and I was like, whoa. Who schedules that on homecoming? But,
and that's what, Kyle earlier referenced the close games that we had in that 90 season. 89 was much the same because I know we had lost close games at Syracuse and then also Pittsburgh, who was very good at that time. Right. And that Syracuse game was on a last-second field goal. So and then we, of course, beat them by a field goal in 91. But
right. Mm-hmm. And then because that Pitt game, I remember that, man. That score was 45-42.
Yeah.
Walter Wilson had a game of a lifetime. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It was so cold that game. Water bottles froze. Our heaters wasn't working. We're looking at them like, oh man, they got no sleeves on them.
It's funny story about that game, Chris. We jumped out, 21-0, and Pitt was ranked, and so
Right.
My dad, we made that trip up there, and and so my dad was basically running stadium steps because he was so excited, running down, high-fiving everybody, and then like you said, we ended up losing 47-42, yeah, whatever it was.
Yeah, man. I mean, those are the games like it's just like okay, we were right there, couldn't get over that hump, and I think our senior year. When we realized that first game playing Illinois, like I said, I think they were high. I think were they ranked at the time? I'm not sure, but to lose to them, it's like okay, we already know we got a chance. We got something special here. So, and that year, and that first game, I was at free safety. I was playing free safety. They switched me to corner and moved Greg Brandison to free safety, which was a big move because Greg was more of the hitter. And I was more of the cover guy. So they had Greg playing strong safety. They had me playing free. So they made a couple of adjustments, and we went after it, and we went from there.
You talked about that Syracuse game. Mm-hmm. You talk about how it was coming back and seeing all the people welcoming you back at the airport after upsetting Syracuse in the Carrier Dome and just the atmosphere around Greenville.
Oh, man, that was awesome. That was awesome. Police escort and coming to the airport and seeing that, man, it was just awesome because they always, one thing about those fans, they always support it. They always support it. And it's just like, we was that close every year. We went, my junior year, we go 500. The year before that, we go 500. My freshman year, we won 3 games, 8. But it just seemed like no matter what the situation was, they were always in the stand. No matter what our record was. They always supported. So that was, to me, that was a gift to them for all the years of going through the misery, even when we went through the misery, you know. So, and now when I went back for the homecoming game. It's like I didn't recognize anything. I mean, there's just so much stuff that has been added. I'm like, wow, wow. What is? I mean, man, and that's crazy. And just
was
to
that
hear,
2016, 2017?
Yeah, when they played SMU. They had played SMU. Yeah.
16 or 17, okay. Scotty Montgomery,
And to hear the announcer go touchdown and everybody go, you go Pirates, everybody go, arr. I was like, wow. They came a long way. That's what it's all about, though, man. That's what it's all about.
And something else, Chris, as far as former players like yourself getting back into the fold and involved with the program, new head coach Mike Houston has really embraced that, and he and his staff have really reached out and encouraged guys if they're going to be in the area, whether it's practice or games, to please stop by and come out and watch practice and so forth.
Oh yeah, I got to come to homecoming this year. I got to check it out. I got to come again. I got to come. Because I haven't been able to come as often as I wanted to. So, but I got it on the calendar to come this year for homecoming.
What do you think about Steve Shankweiler coming back? It's hard to believe Shank was there when you played, and now he's back
my
yet
goodness.
again.
Man, Gilbride, I be seeing people on TV. I be like, man, what is he? Gilbride and all those people. I'm like, oh, man, Shankweiler coming back? Oh, woo! First, bring the whole clan back. Bring everybody back. Coach Swart, conditioning and strength coach, bring everybody back.
How's it been for you? How's it been for you as a Pirate? Even though you're down in Georgia, how's it been for you the last 3 years? How bad we've been under Scotty Montgomery, knowing what you did here, and how good the program has been over the last 20 years or so, and then to see it in such disarray the last few years, it's got to hurt being a former player.
Yeah, it does, but I can remember only winning 3 games, so I know that feeling, and it's not a good feeling. And like I said, you have the talent, but it just has to come together, you know. Because I always rag a guy. He's a diehard LSU fan, and I tell him all the time, y'all don't really wear the real purple and gold. We the real purple and gold. So, and I always clown them. I'm East Carolina down football. Like I tell them, they say, "Man, who's your college team?" East Carolina. I ain't got no other team. So it's just like, man. I mean, I root for them. I watch them every year. Just like that one year, I thought they was gonna do it, man. I thought they was. I forgot how many games they had won in a row. I said, "Uh-oh, you're gonna break that record." Oh man, they had a good chance of doing it too, man. But fell short, and then they lost a few more games second half of the season. But I'm always keeping up. I'm always keeping up with it, man. I'm always keeping up.
Probably thinking about 2014, Coach Russ next to last year when we started off, I guess 6-1, and we were ranked in the. That was the first year of the college football playoff poll, and we were ranked.
Yep. And I was like, oh man, they're gonna break that record. I said, I got to get to that game. I got to get one of those games, but it just fell short now. And I'll be rooting for them. Man, because like I said, even though we had that record, but from my understanding, like the 83 team, those teams before us, man, had awesome teams. And like I said, they lost to some of the top schools by around 9 points. So, and like I said, we can't really compare. Like I always say, like when we had that debate, who had the greatest team, I said, man, we were just great. Each era had a great team. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? But and that's how I always look at it. We just had a great team that era. The Baker boys were rough.
So after that 91 season, in the spring of 92, you get drafted in the 9th round by the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, that's when the Dallas Cowboys are really hitting their stride. Jimmy Johnson. So talk about that.
Yeah, they were. And make it so bad, man. I was sitting at the dorm at the time. The first day, like I said, I really didn't get worked out by Dallas. Cleveland worked me out a few times on the side because what we did, we had to schedule our workouts around Robert Jones. So, and we watched, of course, we had like Jeff Blake, Luke Fisher, Robert Jones. All those people were getting drafted as well. So we watched the first day. I didn't watch the first day. Cleveland had worked me out. I worked out for Cleveland. I flew up to Cleveland a couple of times. And Cleveland was, at the time, they had a guy named Frank Minifield and a guy named Dixon playing corners. So I think they were looking for some corners at that time. So I'm watching the draft. I see who they drafted. And they drafted Touchdown Tommy out of Stanford, Tommy Vardell. I remember that to this day because I was like, man, what in the world? So I stopped watching after that. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to hang around. I wasn't really expecting anybody. I wasn't even really expecting to get drafted. But Tim Marshman was like, I'm going to tell you something about Tim Marshman. Tim Marshman told me this a long time ago, like beginning of my senior year. He said, man, Dallas is going to draft you, and they're going to change the number. They're going to put that 8 where the 0 is, and you're going to replace Isaac Hope. I was like, yeah, Tim, get out of here. And I still remember that today because it's funny because Dallas ended up drafting me, but I didn't replace Isaac Hope. But man, I got the call at first. I was in my dorm room. I had stopped watching the draft. I was in the dorm, and the phone rang. So it's my mom. She said, "How you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm just sitting here waiting to see if anything will happen." I stopped watching the draft. She said, "Well, I think Dallas just drafted you. The name came up, East Carolina, and they cut off." I said, "Okay, well, you need to get off the phone then, because I might." We don't have call waiting, so they might be trying to call me. So, and I'll be darned, I got that call and said, we just drafted you, nice one. We're going to fly you up over the weekend. So I had to call her back and told her, yeah, that's what they drafted me. I mean, it was an experience. So I remember Robert Jones had to leave that night when he got drafted. He got drafted the day before. He had to leave that night to go. So it was fun to be in camp with him. We coming from the same school. So, and then camp, man, it's rough because that's the year that Jimmy Johnson traded Herschel Walker. So they had DBs galore. So you got maybe 15 to 18 DBs fighting for 7 positions.
Oh man.
Yeah. So you got to think 9. That was the last year of the 12th round. So me getting drafted 9th round, they had drafted Kevin Smith was their first pick. Darren Woodson, they had a guy named Clayton Holmes, not to mention all the other people that they have on the team already. You got James Washington, Ike Hayes, just a slew of defensive backs. So it's kind of hard to get the reps when you're like that, when you got so many. So I was always first and trying to get reps. I get a couple of reps here and there in special teams. I end up getting cut. I made it to the last cut. got cut. They brought me back that next year. I made the squad because a guy named Kenny Gant got hurt for Dallas, and I was the backup to Kenny Gant. So I had a good preseason that year. I got most improved from the year before. And then the first year I got cut, and then we call the person the Grim Reaper. They come to your door, they come to your dorm room. Coach want to see you bring your playbook. So we already got the hit to that, so we already knew we was going down to that. But as the preseason went on in '93, I kept saying, okay, well, I'm just waiting for him to show up at any time now. So it goes on and goes on. So guy finally comes to the room and says, well, you got a meeting, come to the meeting. So I was like, oh Lord, here we go. So we get in the room and everybody just sitting there, and coach comes and says, congratulations, this is the 53-man roster. So I'm looking around like, really? Oh my goodness. So man, I was excited. I got released in October that year. Because they put me on in that squad when I made the squad. And then they brought in a couple high-profile names. They released me and a guy named Robert Williams off that team. So, but after that, I had a couple of camp workouts, a couple of camp tryouts with San Francisco, Washington. Dallas brought me back again. But then I ended up finishing with World League.
I want to ask you about, Chris, I'll ask a Kyle question right now. Mm-hmm. How pretty are those cheerleaders in Dallas?
Oh, man. Woo. That's all that, man. It's pretty. A lot of the cheerleaders. Man, they're pretty nice. But that's what, and people don't understand that. I have to tell people that all the time. That's not their regular job. That's not what they do for a living. So, you know, those people, that's like extracurricular activity for them. So, yeah, I had to tell them. I said, this people got regular jobs, man.
You had a nice career in NFL Europe, didn't you? Playing for the Frankfurt Galaxy.
Yes. That was a blessing in disguise as well too, man. I picked Kurt Warner 3 times. Yeah.
Hall of Famer. Well.
Yeah. Hall of Fame quarterback. John Kitna. I picked him a couple of times. That's some memories right there. I ended up finishing with 18 interceptions over my career over there. So, man, we had some good times. Good times. As a matter of fact, Ernie Stockton was our coach when I first got there.
18 interceptions. Now, that didn't get you another shot at the league?
Yeah, I mean, I went to a couple of camps. My first year, because when I first went, after the first year, that's when Dallas had, back in '96 when they got Deion. Was that '96? I went back into camp. They invited me back to camp, but I just couldn't make it. I just did not make it back. So, but I mean, I had the opportunity, and like I said, I have no regrets for it. And like I said, man, I guess there's just so much memories, especially with East Carolina, man. And like I said, I tell people about that all the time, man. East Carolina was, man, the stuff we went through and the bonds that we built is just unreal. Tour days, and Art Baker, Pepsi breaks. And I mean, and then like the weight room. I look at the weight room now, and the weight room that we had our freshman year at the bottom of the hill, and we had to walk down there, and it was a small room, and I can hear Coach Ward now. Oh, get ready to do those supersets. I mean, going to the corner store, eating hot dogs, 3 for $1. Man, it was just some times, man. It was just times. And like I said, when I went back 17, I've been looking at the campus like, what was this stuff when we were playing?
That's funny, Chris, when you talk about how things have changed in Greenville. I remember growing up, going to those games in the late 80s, early 90s. I remember when where the Colonial Mall is now, and there's a McAllister's Deli right there on the corner. I'm sure you saw it when you were back for that SMU game. But I remember there was a convenience store right there. Was it called? It was like the Pirate's Chest or something.
It was something, man. It was right there on that corner. It was right there on the corner, too, man. Oh man, that was some times, man. Even like like the food, man, we didn't really have any per diem or nothing with that. So, but now they get that kind of stuff. I mean, we got that at our senior year for late nights, but man, it's just amazing how the program is growing. You know, so, and the stadium is growing.
It was definitely the Pirates Chest. I went in the '90s, and it was still there. So
yeah,
in the early to mid '90s, I was there. So it was the Pirate Chest. And by the way, Bubba, I'll give you an update. It's the Greenville Mall.
Oh yeah, the Greenville Mall.
It used to be the Plaza. We were there.
It wasn't really. People used to call it the mall. We used to call it the Plaza because I was like, that's not a mall.
Yeah, exactly.
People used to say that all the time. That's not. I'm like, no, that's a Plaza.
Now wait a minute, it's grown some since then. It's our mall.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what we looked at as from seeing a mall. Like when I came from Jersey now, I've been around malls. And like I said, they come to Greenville and they say, okay, that's the mall right there. I was like, where? I was like, right there. Oh, the Plaza right there. Okay. But I mean, it did. I mean, you know, I had family in Charlotte, so anytime I wanted to really go to the mall, I go to Charlotte.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking about. I knew I'd seen something about.
Right.
Seen something about Charlotte.
Because my dad was military, so my aunt stays in Charlotte. I call her my aunt. It's really my cousin, but they treated me like she was my aunt. That's who came to my senior game, the senior game.
Right.
They came down because my dad got stationed in Germany. So him and my mom and him, they were stationed in Germany for the second go around. So that's where I stayed at when I was my senior year in Charlotte.
So you mentioned the food. So how was it being you had family in Charlotte, being a kid from Jersey? What did you think of Eastern North Carolina barbecue when you had it the first time?
Oh man, that barbecue be on point now. I give them that barbecue. Oh man, that was on point. That was on point. But a lot of times we were at Kentucky Fried Chicken. Because they had the buckets of chicken then, and then you got to think, we really didn't have no money, so our whole suite would go down there and put our money together and get a bucket of chicken and just sit there and eat, or try to find all-you-can-eat place, because we wasn't spending that much money. Money was scarce. Money was scarce, so we did what we had to do.
Yeah, and back then, no training table and juice bars and that kind of stuff.
Right, there. Now, they started getting that stuff my senior year, which I think Bill Lewis might have brought that with him, so that was a plus. That was a plus. And we started getting the training table. Yeah, man, that was awesome then. That was awesome. And then we go make our waffles in the morning. We had to go make our waffles in the morning. Oh man, that was awesome. The waffle machine.
Yeah. Like you see now everywhere with the continental breakfast.
Yes, the waffle machine. I'm like, I remember that.
But now, Chris, originally from New Jersey, tell folks and tell Pirate Nation what you're up to now.
Well, I'm actually in Savannah. I work at a chemical plant. I get around. I'm in the motorcycle club. I ride motorcycles. Other than that, man, I'm just taking it day by day. And I just sit here and just reminisce and hear other people talk about their stories about playing football and stuff like that. But then I got people at work don't realize that I played with Cowboys. When they find out, they're like, "You really play with the Cowboys?" I say, "Yeah." And then I tell them about East Carolina and stuff like that. They say, "Oh, you went to East Carolina?" And I always have to tell them, "Do you know who Jeff Blake is, Robert Jones?" I always have to tell them that because they're, "Oh, okay." Yeah, that's the school I went to. So. But, I mean, it's all the fun. It's all the fun, man. But that's all I do. I work swing shifts, ride motorcycles. That's my release now, riding motorcycles.
Now, you mentioned riding motorcycles. Jeff Charles, the voice of the Pirates, rides motorcycles. Have you ever? He does a big fundraiser every year called Ride with the Voice. Have you ever took part in that?
Oh, no, I haven't. That's my first time hearing about it.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get in touch with him and let him know you might be interested in it. It's a big ride he does every year. It's a fundraiser, and it's called Ride with the Voice, and a bunch of pirates and him and other people get together and have an all-day motorcycle ride. And, so
oh yeah. Because I was thinking about, man, I was even thinking about getting a ECU bike on a thing, on one of those bikes. just doing like an East Carolina thing.
Absolutely, that'd be cool. Well, thank you for joining us for 50 Pirates in 50 Days. We really do appreciate it.
All right, thanks for having me. No problem, man. No problem. I hope to see everybody at home come in.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Chris. Let us know if you're able to make it, and we'll catch up with you.
Definitely that.
And absolutely, and we'll send you a link when we put this out.
Okay, no problem. Thank you again.
All right. Thanks so much. Take care.
All right, you too.
That concludes this edition of 50 Pirates in 50 Days on the Sports Objective. Remember, join us daily between now and game day as we'll talk Pirate football with players from various eras. All these interviews are available exclusively on SoundCloud and our YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe and follow so you're alerted when we post new content. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, go Pirates!